After nearly 40 years in meteorology, I rarely am left shaking my head in amazement at a weather event, but it happened last week with a historic snowstorm that blanketed the deep south from Texas to eastern North Carolina. Indeed, winter storm warnings had been posted along most of the Gulf Coast last Monday evening, and here's how it all played out. An approximately 1,400-mile stretch from Austin, Texas to the Outer Banks of North Carolina saw at least an inch. Many areas in the Florida Panhandle and the southern parts of Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia got more than 6 inches. New Orleans got 8. Areas south of the city got 10 inches or more. Pensacola's 8.9 inches broke their all-time record set in 1895, and the all-time Florida snowfall record was likely broken with around 10 inches near Milton, just northeast of Pensacola. As far as the weather setup, early last week, Arctic air had overspread nearly the entire lower 48 east of the Mississippi. The leading edge of the anomalously cold air had pushed well into the Gulf. As an area of low pressure developed off South Texas, the southerly flow ahead of that storm pulled warm and moist air northward, and being less dense, that air rose up and over the colder air in place near the surface. And this so-called overrunning produced the precipitation. The cold air in the lower atmosphere kept it mostly snow. The Gulf was running anywhere from 2 to 7 degrees warmer than average early last week. That meant greater than average evaporation and thus more moisture in the air for the storm to work with. It made for this once-in-a-generation visible satellite image around noon last Wednesday. The white you see from southeast Texas across the Gulf Coast into the southern half of Georgia and South Carolina, including the Florida Panhandle, is snow cover. This close-up animation that day, centered on Georgia, vividly shows how the snow quickly began to melt, courtesy of the relatively high southern sun angle. Here are some scenes from near ground level. The French Quarter in New Orleans virtually abandoned. The snow literally meeting the greenish-blue water on Pensacola Beach. And finally, the Isle of Palms near Charleston, South Carolina, courtesy of a Weather World viewer. Behind the storm, the combination of a snowpack and clear skies led to record low temperatures. In this color-enhanced infrared satellite loop, infrared is correlated with temperature. The purple shading indicates the cold snowpack and corresponding deep chill in the air above. Lafayette, Louisiana, only about 30 miles from the Gulf, dropped to 4 degrees, setting an all-time low temperature record. Observations there go back to 1893. After departing the U.S., the upper-level disturbance that powered the southern storm helped jumpstart a North Atlantic cyclone that brought hurricane-force winds to parts of Ireland and the U.K. a few days later. Stay tuned. Our extended forecast is next.